Lots of coffee for you, Andy, as we all wait to hear the announcement that the Octopus Teacher has taken this award.
Now, Andy, before you have a go, I mean, you wear various hats. Today we're speaking to you as a film critic, a film fan as well. I mean, I just got a message on WhatsApp from my mother last night saying, I've just watched this documentary about the octopus on Netflix and I'm a mess. I'm in tears. This thing has really impacted all kinds of people in so many different ways. Surely it's a shoe-in. What do you think?
I think it ticks, and good morning to you, Marcel, Gareth, and everybody. I think it ticks all the boxes. It's a film that made a lot of people cry. I think it's brilliantly filmed. It goes without saying that when there's something South African at the Oscars, we support it and we wish it all the best. I know that there was a very funny viral joke meme at the time that it came out with the kid who over-identifies with his creepy crawly. Do you remember that?
There was also and it did go viral. And the people who made it said they felt really bad making fun of it. But it just shows the impact of this documentary, doesn't it?
It sure does. I mean, in a way, it was doing something quite clever, that viral meme, because, you know, the interesting thing that's sort of between the lines in My Octopus Teacher is that clearly the filmmaker at the time the film was made had gone through some kind of a psychological trauma, and the octopus becomes the catharsis for what it is he's going through in his life. So in a way, the film is kind of more about the filmmaker than the octopus. But, you know, at the same time, it's absolutely brilliantly filmed. It's presented and framed as a tragedy. I won't give too much away. But I think you could look at the film in another way and say that actually it's the opposite of a tragedy, and that, you know, the octopus lives an entirely successful life cycle. I certainly learned a lot about the octopus that I never knew. And it's an absolutely fascinating film, and good luck to it at the Oscars.
Indeed, all fingers crossed. I mean, they even got a letter from the president on Friday wishing them luck as well. So that's good on them as well. Let's talk about Best Film nominees. Now, just a few years ago was the first time we saw nominations, or was it a year ago or 2 years, where they finally allowed movies that had screened on streaming services to be part of the Academy Awards. But that horse has now bolted. The floodgates have opened, and people like Netflix and the like are just massive contenders. How are they shaping up this time around?
God, well, it's really something what you're saying. I mean, if you take a film like Mank, for example, you know, I actually don't know how it all breaks down between Netflix and who's owning the films, but I think what you're getting at is, yes, in the time of COVID, the streaming services have absolutely blossomed and have become so valuable, and the Oscars in this time are practically only about that, you know. And I think that, you know, it goes further into even how the films are being made. The way they're being made is changing in this time. I think that it's, you know, the Oscars celebrates the business of film, and as such, Netflix are going to be a big winner, whatever happens tonight.
Andy, how is this going to change, do you think? I mean, Marcel's quite right. It's going to be essentially Netflix tonight. Obviously, you have Prime Video and all of their docus, and it's how we're consuming movies and documentaries now. But off the back of last year, the hard lockdowns around the world and COVID, do you think this is going to have changed those large-scale movie houses, Warner Brothers, Universal? Do you think they're going to be pushed out because of this gap that's being created by COVID?
No, I think that what's happening slowly is that you know, if you, for example, watch Netflix in the early days, there was a lot of content on Netflix that is no longer there. And that's because, you know, the corporations like Disney and so on are now starting their own streaming services. So, you know, what happens is it kind of still will all go back to the top. I don't see it as being the death of the companies. They will adapt and become more elastic and find ways. Netflix has led the way on this to do their business. But it definitely signals a death of cinema, which is a very sad thing. At this time, You know, people are not going to the cinema. You look at the box office figures today, even though there's limited openings, compared to what it was before COVID. You know, there's billions and billions that have been lost to this. And what's the end result is? The end result is, even though cinema had started, you know, had become this multiplex experience, cinema and film has moved away from the mass viewing experience, which for me is a very sad thing for cinema.
It really is. Before I let you go, we just need to get your take. I mean, we obviously can talk about leading nominations. Mank has got 10 nominations. The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, which I cannot wait to see. Minari, Nomadland, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7. They all have 6 nominees. Which way do you think they're going to go? And will it have something to do with the temperature and the narratives that we're seeing playing out, especially in the United Society in the United States?
Yes. So, you know, look, first of all, have to say, I think the history of cinema and film and great film has for years not been written in the outcome of the Oscars.
Yes.
I think that you know, every filmmaker in the world would love to win an Oscar, of course. And I think what you're getting at, what you're referring to here, is the Oscars too white? Is this what you're...
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing stories like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, you're seeing Judas and the Black Messiah, but then you also get the immigrant experience coming through in Minari, which is about a Korean family trying to make their way. Do you think that will have an impact on the way that the awards, the Academy votes? Just very quickly.
I think it definitely has changed things. I mean, when you think about Parasite, for example, winning Best Picture, like a foreign film actually winning Best Picture from South Korea as well last year. This is a big change. I don't think it changes Hollywood and the way Hollywood operates. But I think that since they've enlarged the voters on the awards and they've tried to make it more diverse, it's definitely changed things. And,
okay, Andy, we're going to leave it there. I'm being shouted at in my ear. We could speak about these kinds of things for hours. Don't you worry. We'll have you back on, Gareth and I, again some other time.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you as well.